Hi TCG, Charcal Lori here, bringing you back to the future. We're going to go over our Fab 4 futures. So we're going to start out with ES. When I first started these videos 2 months ago, I kept going over the concepts of area of support and area of resistance. I think it's vital to trading futures. So if we look here, what was prior resistance 302.350, we have not had a candle close above that. We have tested that area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So it's definitely a strong area of support, and it's definitely a line that's going to stay on my chart. And also I'd like to point out I'm using the 12-hour today. It seems to be giving the best perspective for all four sectors. It's really just giving me some clarity. It's the clearest time frame. Also, I want to point out that I have been studying a ton, and I'm going back to the 12 and 26 EMA. For shorter term time frames, the 9 and 21, the 4 and 8 work well. But for these perspectives, for these time frames, I think 12 and 26 is the best. Thank you for your patience on that while I got that settled. So back to ES, this 12-hour, I have two lines on my chart, 3023 and 2998. These levels are critical. These were prior areas of support over here and support here, and then it bobbled here as resistance. So I'm going with 3023 as the clearest resistance that needs a candle close above on the 12-hour, which I would then consider a bull break. And then a bear break would be 2998. And today they weren't able to pull it down as much as they would like, even though we finished red. It's just the volume. The volume has to be higher than the preceding bull volume typically in order for us to have a truly bearish day and a bear break. So keep an eye on volume. Now we're going to move to NASDAQ. NASDAQ, I've kind of drawn this triangle here. We have two touches on the top and two touches on the bottom. And I've started using this triangle. It's over here on the left bar. Click triangle pattern. So we're going to go A from the first point, delete, try again, from the top to the low of this triangle, the mid-range point, and then it forms a nice little visual triangle. And again, this is on the 12-hour, so you can visualize what's going on with NASDAQ. And let's say NASDAQ were to stay in this triangle. It is set to break around August 1st. So it will break before August 1st, 6 p.m. Eastern. That is this furthest most time frame point. Also, I'd like to just point out these lower wicks on NASDAQ. They just really buy the dip in an impressive way. It's pretty amazing. So, but I'm keeping my eye on this 12-hour EQ. So the 12-hour EQ is we have our higher high at 805.175, our higher low at 7.917, our lower high at 8.040, and our higher low at 7.951, and we're just tightening up in this 12-hour pattern. Moving on to RTY, different chart, same pattern, 12-hour EQ. So we're tightening up, but as you can see, the lower wicks are not quite as fierce. Let's click back to NASDAQ. As you can see, lower dips get bought with a vengeance. RTY, not so much. We have some lower wicks there, and they are holding the EMA back test, but the bulls are just not as excited about RTY as they are NASDAQ. So your levels are your higher high, 1588.90, your lower high at 1562, and then I'm going to count this higher high 1585.10. Let's go to the 6-hour. 6-hour definitely provides more clarity. I was trying to stay on the 12-hour for all four, but it just doesn't make as much sense as it does on RTY as the 6-hour. So again, those levels are 1588.90, the lower high 1561.30, higher low, lower high 1585.10, and higher low 1566.40. Let's do the triangle pattern on this as well. Again, this is set to break right around FOMC, and that would be my guess for all of these patterns, as they would break around FOMC. YM. YM is giving me the clearest pattern. We have a descending triangle. We have a RSI trend line that has started to form, and this candle will close shortly. So we may have a slight RSI break above. We had lower bull volume. I'm actually shocked that YM closed green today with Boeing's extreme weakness. So we have a 12-hour again, 12-hour ascending triangle pattern. And then I'd like to point out the measured move. The measured move approach is what would be the measured move if this pattern were to break. And so on an ascending triangle, you measure the base. So the base here is about 318 points. Let's call it 300 points. So if the Dow were to break over here, up or down, the expected measured move would be around 318 points. Does the triangle pattern give any clarity here? Somewhat, not really. Delete that. So again, I like this descending triangle over here on YM. So our levels of resistance are 27358 and 27359, and our support is 27040 because we broke to a lower low on the 12-hour chart with YM. And finally, I want to look at Apple. Apple has this channel that's developing. It's looking like an potential ascending wedge, and they have earnings tomorrow. And Apple is part of the Dow. So I'm expecting which way Apple goes, Dow will go. So Apple will be my canary for YM and, of course, ES and NASDAQ. It will probably bring clarity to these 12-hour patterns possibly before the FOMC. So I hope y'all have a good evening. As always, tag me if you have any questions in the room.